I'm Rosie Molinary, and we're in Davidson, North Carolina, and I'm going to talk to you about Circle de Luz. Circle was started last year, May of 2008, as a response to the high dropout rate for Latina girls in this country. And right now, the statistic is that 41% of Latina girls do not finish high school. And what Circle de Luz is a mentoring, programming, and scholarship nonprofit that begins working with girls in 7th grade. And the reason why we start so young is because we want to start with these girls while they still really believe in themselves and haven't bought into the stories that anyone else has told them about their lives. And so we start with them in 7th grade. We follow them for 6 years, and along the way we see them at least twice a month for programming, and then they each have 2 mentors, and follow them sort of all the way through from 7th grade to high school graduation. And when they graduate from high school, they each get a minimum of a $5,000 scholarship for the educational opportunity of their choice. And that can be going to an Ivy League, that can be going to massage school. We're wide open to just helping the girls live a life that's deliberate for them, and whatever that means is great with us. The way that we raise the scholarship funds is through a giving circle, and giving circles are sort of a newfound thing in philanthropy where people who have a common interest compile their funds to support a common interest. And so in this case, women commit $90 a year for each of the 6 years from 7th grade until 12th grade, and all that money gets invested into CDs and money market savings accounts. And so with that general $90 a woman per year and the interest, that's how we end up to a little bit over $5,000 for each girl when they graduate from high school. The other piece that's interesting in this is that right now our locations are in Charlotte, North Carolina, but we take women from all over this country. And so for the class of 2014, which was our first class of Circle de Luz girls, they have 56 women who support them. There are 8 girls in the program, and those women come from everywhere from Washington State to Rhode Island. And then the class of 2015, which is our second class that we're starting right now, those women come from 11 different states, and it's as varied from Illinois to, New Mexico. I knew that I wanted to, because it was a giving circle, sort of the motif of a circle came up to me. And so what I did was email all of my creative friends and say, here's what I'm thinking, here's the mission statement, what images come to you? And a friend wrote back and said, I keep seeing a lighthouse, I keep seeing a lighthouse. And I thought, well, this is for Latina girls, maybe we could do light in Spanish. And so that's how we got to Circle de Luz. In reality, the logo we came up to isn't a lighthouse at all. It is a moon and a star, and it's a 6-pointed star to stand for each of the 6 years of the program, and it's sort of an abstract, uneven star. And the idea is that these girls are our stars, and the women who are the mijas in the program, the donors, are these sort of moonbeams for these girls. The girls apply, and we do an interview, and then once they're selected, we do this recognition ceremony, and we have this great jewelry artist who designed a necklace for the girls. And so they come up and they each receive their necklace, and their moms put it on them at the ceremony. And then we had a reception afterwards. And probably the penultimate experience for me was a mom coming up to me at the reception afterwards saying, I always knew my daughter was really special. I didn't know anyone else would think she was. And she was crying, and it made me cry, and it was just this beautiful moment. So that was a pretty big moment for me. Another really rich moment just came about 2 weeks ago, and the girls, we had a workshop with them in the spring, and we were talking about sort of discrimination and what's discrimination, and what are the different ways that we can discriminate against people, or we are discriminated against. And we were hearing about their experiences, and we were talking to them about speaking up and when it's appropriate to speak up, and what sort of things do you say when you speak up, and those sort of things. And fast forward to school just started back for them, and one of our girls called and mentioned that she was being picked on at school, and she said, but it's okay, Gabrielle's been sticking up for me. And Gabrielle is one of the other girls in the program, and they didn't know each other before Circle de Luz. They just happened to go to the same school. But I love that Gabrielle, who is this little sliver of a girl, said to this boy that was picking on this other girl, you know, you need to stop that. That's not nice, and you need to stop that. You know, that she just sort of had put that all together and just had found her voice and was able to be spunky in that moment and speak her piece. I have such gratitude to my parents because my brother and sister graduated from high school when I was in elementary school, and my dad retired from the military when I was in elementary school, and they were interested in going back to Puerto Rico, but ultimately didn't for my education. And I think about that sacrifice as being the sacrifice of their lives. It's also the thing that most significantly altered my life, because I know that my life is different for having been raised here. I know that I'm a more empowered and probably more educated woman from having been raised in the U.S., but the sacrifice my parents made was to not be with their family. And I just can't even imagine that. My mom is one of 10. And so I feel such gratitude for them for making that choice for me. And I think that it leaves me a little bit restless. It leaves me with an incredible sense of responsibility of being, and not in a bad way at all, but just being aware of that was a significant sacrifice, and to whom much is given, much is expected. The thing that saved my life as a young girl was trusting that if I put effort into myself, that I would get it back sort of multifold. And I think that's probably true for any young woman, probably any young person, period, is that the more you take yourself seriously and the more you engage with learning what it is you care about and then plugging into those passions, I think certainly the happier you are, but also the more prepared you are to live a life that's sort of fully realized for yourself. And so I think that that's true that is possible for anyone if they just sort of dare themselves to do it. And that's true for anyone, even if you end up in a place without the resources you need, even if you end up in a place where you feel the other and alone, that while you might feel alone, as long as you have yourself, you're not really alone. For the girls themselves, what we want is for them to literally finish high school and go on to pursue further education. And then sort of figuratively, what we want is for them to recognize that futures can be of their creation, that life doesn't have to happen to them, that they can make life happen.